Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome this month our Conscience Creative Challenge. This month, well, the challenge was, well, you have to come up with a wild construction, but it has to have a decorative expression using a repetitive technique. Later on, we're gonna explain you what is a decorative expression and of course a repetitive technique. But I will not do that alone because we have one of our ENC coaches with us, and this is Shireen. So I'm calling in Shireen if she wants to join us, and I'm gonna add you to the left. Okay, well, Shireen, you have to put out your voice.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes.
It's so cool to see you again. Well, of course, well, for all the people, we do see a lot. We are getting in touch with each other a lot because almost every week we have an update with the ENC, what is happening. We have a status of the students, how they are doing, what are the pain points, and so on. So, but okay, for the Conscious Creative Challenge, we're so happy you are part of this. Before we continue, can you tell us a little bit who you are, what you do, and your passion for flowers? We all have our passion for flowers. What's yours?
Oh,
Whoa, that's a lot of questions.
yes. I have a IT background and turned into a florist 20 something years ago. So, and from then on, I just fell in love with playing with flowers. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I really get my hands on to touch the flowers, work with flowers, and started to learn Ikebana, which really, really connects me with nature.
Okay.
That's a very important part of my floral journey.
So the intriguing part working with flowers is your connection with nature, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's a beautiful one. Love that quote. Yeah, really beautiful. Because I do believe when we work with flowers, we interact with something from nature and we are by ourselves, we are a product of nature. So it totally makes sense. You find yourself through the flowers. And of course, well, we can express what we feel through flowers. And what most beautiful and better medium we can have, we can dream of the flowers, right?
It is. And sometimes when I design and one stem snap, from the bunch or whatever,
Happens.
and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And when my son was little, he's like, "Mom, are you crazy? You're talking to your flowers." I'm like, they are living things, they have feelings.
Yeah.
So, yep, I do talk to my flowers,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah. But I don't. But what I want to say, what I do believe that flowers are, they have a personality.
Yeah,
So this I'm so convinced because we each have our individuality because like we're big, we're tall, we have a certain knowledge, we have certain talents. Well, it's exactly the same with flowers. And I always say, and I repeat myself for people that are listening again, is if you come up with a good band, you have to find the right musician, to the right drummer, the right guitarist, and the singer. It's exactly the same what we do with flowers. We just combine the ones that fits the best for the best outcome. And
yeah.
I can't believe you. You go like you talk with the flowers, and yes, it really works for me as well. Yeah, yes,
And most importantly, I think we need to respect every materials like the flowers, the leaves, everything, and give them the space they need
yeah,
in our design instead of try to cover them or make them not happy in that sense, squishing them, trying to pack all the flowers in that, and they get lost in the design. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
totally believe in that.
Yeah, no, totally. We do respect the flowers, but also I have to say, hence is where are the W's, right? For who is it? Why are we doing it? Who's looking at? What is the message? Because what I also sometimes do, I do some events, and then I'm speaking about the events more, well, also in the States, but also in India and Middle East. They like a lot of flowers. They like the decorative part, and the more flowers, the more colors, the more richness. Well, it makes totally sense for that people. But if you go to Japan indeed and you have Ikebana, it's like, okay, you're so focused on that one personality. So that's a whole different approach of approaching flowers.
Yeah, I also do events and I also do a lot of flowers. However, it's still, you let every flower shine, even if you have a lot or you have only three. Yeah,
That's well the challenge, and that's what they say about the Fuji mountain. The Fuji mountain is so beautiful because it's one mountain on itself. If you go to the Pyrenean, what's the colony?
pyramid.
Okay. Well, you see a lot of them. So if
Mm.
one is smaller than or bigger or whatever, it disappears in the wholeness, right? But the Fuji mountain is one, so it has to be good. And that's one, if you work with only three flowers, well, you have to come up with the best qualities of those flowers because they're going to make or break your arrangement. Okay. Well, let's go on to the next step. Let's invite, well, we're going to see who did we take, and it was like, well, we didn't take her. It's actually you guys had selected the work of Anna Grigorias because you liked what she made, and once again, it's like it was a wide construction, decorative expression. Decorative expression means, well, maybe can you explain what is decorative for you, Shireen?
Definitely, when we look at that bouquet, it's so decorative because it's wire. It's not natural. So definitely that is like obvious decorative part of the design.
This is actually the bouquet. I'm gonna put it a little bit here. I'm gonna put Anna a little bit smaller like this because we love to have her with us, and later we're gonna invite her as well. So yes, this is the work from Anna. She did not call in, so we hope she's gonna call in, so we can ask her to join us. Well, that is actually the work. Well, first of all, let's analyze a little bit before Anna is coming in. So in here, decorative means, well, what happens if you put something decorative? You can really clearly see the hand of the designer. So that means is there is a human touch, there is a big manipulation of the materials of the construction. And I see on my right side over here, Anna wants to join. Anna, well, we're gonna invite you in some minutes, but first, like Shireen and I will just like analyze a bit of your work, and then we're gonna invite you. So going back to the decorative part, yes, everything is very decorative. Everything, the keywords of decorative is controlled. So the whole kind of, I think it's a wedding design, is so controlled. Not only the flowers, look at the colors on the Decia, it is really controlled. By the end is wired. Also the construction is, and then we're gonna ask her later on, why did you do only one part with the curly ones and the other part with,
Yes.
we will have a lot of questions for Anna, and I'm gonna ask her to join now. And we're gonna put you with us. I'm gonna put that a little bit smaller. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Anna.
I was trying to connect. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to us. And first of all, congratulations. People voted for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for voting.
Tell me a little bit about you. Who are you? We want to know who you are, where you're coming from, and why did you challenge? Why did you challenge yourself to participate in that challenge, Creative Conscious Challenge?
Well, I am from Romania. I started working with flowers 6 years ago. I am an environmental protection specialist, so I had a little connection with flowers because we had to study, botanics and all the other subjects like this. But I had a little artistic side of me that was actually wanting to come out. And I started to work with flowers after my wedding because I tried to organize everything, and the guests were very enchanted, and they said, "Why don't you do this?" And it was a very good idea, and I started to study from then. And that's what I'm doing for the past 6 years. I want to try different things, to learn more and more. And these challenges, I think they're very great because they take us out of the comfort zone, and they actually help us grow. Yeah. So this is the point, I guess.
Yeah. Well, indeed, what you said, I totally agree. You have to be becoming familiar with the unfamiliar, or you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, in other words. And it's totally, and how do you do that? Well, you know what? Set challenges. Indeed, and that makes you grow. And the bigger the challenge, the bigger the growth process. And this is something like, and now I'm looking to Shireen, this is something that we really like ask our students to do. Like get yourself on stage, get yourself on the uncomfortable way because we want you to grow. And I love your mindset, Anna. It's like I love the mindset of you're open, you want to grow, you want to see, you want to learn, and still you said I'm open for new things. That is a cool mindset, and I think that's the way to go.
Thank you very
Really,
much.
really
I
go.
all the time say that I'm going to be an old student for my life. So
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, what's the difference between old student and young student?
I don't know. It's like the amount of years in which you learn, I
Oh,
guess.
okay,
That's for
okay.
me.
Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, now we're gonna take advantage from you because you're here just to ask a little bit about the bouquet, right? So I'm gonna blow it a little bit up that people can see it, and if it is okay for the people, I'm gonna hide myself a little bit. Is that okay for the people? Right? Okay. Well, you can see me like okay, good. So Anna, just tell us what is your inspiration?
Well, I must say I have to start from the beginning to say that this was the most consciously creative bouquet that I ever did because it was for an EMC assignment. So I just go through all my W's, but when I create, I like to choose a certain point from where I start to build. And in this particular situation, I had to choose a wedding gown because for me, the bouquet and the wedding dress are the most important elements that actually show the personality of the bride. So I started to search for inspiration, and I found this beautiful, elegant, simple dress that I felt in love with. And I was like, why don't I create a bouquet for myself? Because I would wear that dress. And 6 years ago, when I got married, I wasn't a florist and I had a regular bouquet. I wasn't satisfied. So now I had the knowledge, I had all the tools, and I didn't have a budget. So that was cool also. So I created this bouquet, but I started from the what's the wish of the client. And my wish was something that was very modern, contemporary, but also with some classical touches because I like pearls and lace. So I wanted to incorporate these elements in the design. And because I want to challenge all the time, I was thinking, why shouldn't I combine two techniques? The spider web technique and the other technique that is with the coils, little S shaped out of aluminium wire. And for me, it looks like a lace. So I just combined the two of them and also the elements with the pearls and the other. So that was the starting point.
Okay, okay, good, good, good. Shireen, another question?
Yeah, I really enjoy your wire work because it's so neat and tidy. When I zoom in, I can really see it's really a really fine craftsmanship. Yes. And what how did you decide the flower you use for this bouquet then?
Well, it was very easy, in fact, because I knew that the assignment was with all wired. So
Mm-hmm.
I picked consciously the flowers that were very good lasting if they didn't have a water source. And I also wanted something that was very delicate, but also refined, not to overpower the structure. So this is how I chose my flowers. The Phalaenopsis is very resistant, also the Kalanchoe. So they are all resistant flowers, but I had an exception because I needed some texture, and I used the Amimayus. I know that it's not very resistant out of water, but the purpose of this design was to last for a photo shooting. So I used it with some wool that I wet wool that I put also when I taped it, and it lasts very well. So this is how I chose them. And also the Betula branches, I chose them because I wanted something that gives a little dimension and depth to the design. So they were very drapey, and actually they were enclosing my flowers in a way.
Okay, you were talking about, let's get some more pictures here. Over here, like here you have the construction. You were talking about Betula. Maybe I just miss it. Where did you with the
It's
betula?
the little branch that it's on top of every all the blooms. I pruned it a little bit, and it has only a few
Oh,
leaves.
this. Okay, I see it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like a small branch of betula.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and you can see it in a
Yes.
detailed picture as well. Okay,
I
yes.
I chose it for depth, and
Okay,
also because I wanted a little color, some green to make it alive.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And
I
the
have
other
two.
flower,
Oh, sorry. Yes.
sorry, I used also there are some fruits there, green ones, monosamars. They're from a tree called Fraxinus, the little
Oh,
ones
yes, yes.
there.
Yep, we see them
Yeah.
over here. I'm up. Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
I used them because of the color. I wanted to bridge a little bit between the Phalaenopsis that has a light green and the dark green from Betula leaves. So that's why I use them, and also for a little texture.
So I'm gonna come up with a color wheel over here, and I'm sorry, it's a little bit weird placing it on your face. Sorry for
It's
this.
no problem.
But
You can put it on my face. I don't mind, Thomas, if you
yeah,
want.
but it well, you know what? Okay, or I have to switch you guys. But here, what we actually see is indeed you are playing in that like the green yellows, right? And then smart because silver is a color that silver is actually a gray, but it's a metallic gray, right? And it is known that gray can fits on everything. Gray is actually a very neutral person. Well, we've talked about individualities, right? So gray is actually a very neutral color. It fits to warm colors, cold colors, whatever. It really adapts itself. So imagine the frame was like in gold, it would be so different. So that makes it that makes sense. So I'm gonna do that away. My first question that I have to you, Anna, is like we are seeing here, and I'm going for this one here. There is a Xanthodesia lying on the left one. Why did you do that like in that separate way? We see it both, but actually we see it on both pictures.
I wanted to break a little bit the outline because they were very masked in one side, and I wanted to bring the eye over the other part. So that's why I put it there.
Okay.
And also for the line, because its stem, it has a line, and
Yeah.
they're actually two. They're creating a line like a circle in a way.
Oh, there too. Yes, right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, in here, let me say about the line arrangement. Well, line arrangement, that it's more, if we use line arrangement, we are referring to more lines, right? So in this case, what I would like to suggest to you is like, yes, I see the second one, but if you had to kind of cross, right, the one in the middle with the one on the end, you'd have like a crossing point. That means those are very strong kind of tensions you create. Crossing points, order and disorder, remember from your
Yeah, yeah.
DMC course, the impact, the visual impact will be more bigger. And that's why I was asking, why did you do that? Because maybe there was another idea. But if you really want to work with line arrangement, think always about the lines in multiple lines, right? Not only one line, right? Because it seems a little bit like, is it off or does it belong to the mass, or maybe it fell off, right? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, right? The moment you start to hesitate, which is good because that the eye stops. But then the next question is, okay, what should I do with this? So once again, go a little bit more further with the Xanthodesia towards the outside, and you create a really good crossing point. Okay.
Thank you for the advice.
Also, oh my gosh, so no problem. The second question, and I'm referring now for this one over here, is like, in here, let's discuss a little bit your construction, because it is a construction, remember? So a construction is something that you made to be seen, that you made because it's part of the aesthetics. Shireen and I, we were asking ourselves, okay, what is the meaning? So you do one part in like the Art Nouveau-ish which is the curly ones, which is really cool. It's really cool. By the way, it really matches your hair as well, so I can see the curls. So it's really cool. It's really cool. It's like it's made for you. But the other part is you go from the really curvy lines, you go for the static lines. So you make that kind of, well, we call it like a spider web. So why did you do that?
Well, as I told you, I wanted to experiment, and all the time I tried to combine two techniques. I just learned at that moment the technique to create that lacy effect, let's say, out of S shapes. And I thought, what if I would combine it with a spider web? Should it be great? Should it be awful? I don't know. So I tried it. But at that point, I thought about proportions, and I thought that it wasn't very good to put half and half. So I just overlapped a little bit, if you see in a corner,
Yes.
the S shapes. So it was like a lace that was put on top of the spider web. That was my idea. It was a hybrid.
Okay. Well, that's a cool one to say. It's a hybrid. Okay. Well, here's some advice. Before you start, it's always great, and we can do that as creatives, is to visualize what we want to make, right? So, or if you don't have the kind of capacity to visualize, make a sketch, right? So my question is to you is like, if you would make a sketch or if you would visualize, would you visualize it in this idea?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I all the time sketch.
Okay, but if
Now I just have a little stylus that I have for my phone, and I sketch whenever I have an idea. So it's my handbook all the time with me.
Smart,
Yeah.
smart. Well, I know a lot of designers actually. I know a lot of designers, and they have a small little book, like a notebook, and they really use that to make sketches, not on their phone, because they have the pen, they have the paper, and they start sketching and make. And with the phone, that's something, because the phone, the device is between actually your brain and your hand, and that's what maybe it will help. But go back to that, to the construction is. What I mean is, well, if I can give you some advice is, yes, you can have like two different parts, but they really have to integrate. In here, I feel there's a connection, right? You have the curly ones and you have the static ones, and there's a connection, right? But I don't feel a interaction. I don't see an interaction. So in here, but you can solve this, you can go like, okay, as you can say, I did a little bit, but it's like, it's very geometrically, right? If I would do it more in a organic flow, that's one. And two is not doing it, or make it all in a spider web, or make it all in the curly ones. Because in here, it's a little bit like we have the dynamic lines of the curls and we have the static lines of the spider web, right? You create huge tension because you work with those two different lines in one arrangement. You know what I mean?
And it represents me, you know. So this is a bouquet created to express my personality. Oh
Okay.
my God. Forget I told you that.
But, well, I'm not saying it's wrong. Definitely not. What I'm saying is that you can improve it. And it is okay. That's why I'm asking your philosophy is like your creative input is, yes, if you want to mix both, integrate them more. Okay. Right? And then the problem is solved. Also, like, and you said it by yourself, and I'm really happy you said it by yourself. It's like, okay, one is right, is the curly one, and one is the left, you know what? And on the picture, if you go like this, you go, oh, that's the curly Anna. If you this, oh my gosh, that's the static Anna. You know what I mean? It's so different. Right?
If I knew, I would make my hair, you know.
Oh yes, flat and curly. Okay, okay, no worries. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But okay, but as you know, as a conscious designer, before we start, like we said, we visualize, we sketch, and we start actually from the outcome. And for sure with constructions, because once you made the construction, you build your flowers on top of it, you can't go back anymore, right? And you invest so much time, so much energy, so much materials. And yes, of course, afterwards you can reuse it, right? I agree on that one. But still, keep that in mind, right? Okay. About the color scheme, we already talked about that one. Let's go a little bit deeper. Can we do that, Shireen? If I just show, and I'm gonna hide you a little bit again. Is that okay, Anna? Can I do that? I don't want to be rude, but I will be rude now. Okay. So
No.
if we just analyze it, can you analyze it a little bit, Shireen?
All right, sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely asymmetrical, closed, decorative, and
And
I
why?
would say,
Can you also explain instead of only using the words? Why is it?
what is why? The
Why?
decorative.
Yeah. Why is okay? It's asymmetrical because like if you put in the middle, the right and left is not equal, right? It's decorative because we said it's really controlled. Anna did really like, right?
Yes, and it's closed because there's no negative space, but there is transparency in the design.
Do you
It's not
agree? Do you agree, Anna?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Good.
And for the line, I don't put any lines because I was hoping, as we say, there is a crossing line with the ventilation. That would be very, very powerful in that design.
Yeah. Yes.
And then,
Oh, sorry. I put wrong.
okay.
Yes, indeed. The design will be even more stronger if you work with that crossing line, right? Okay. And it's a little bit the same with the phalaenopsis. There's like a phalaenopsis, like a butterfly, a little bit on the outside, right? Sometimes, and I do follow Shireen, and she's correct by saying, there is some transparency and there is no kind of openness because the negative space is too small. But in here we start to doubt, right? Is there negative space? Is not. So the moment you start to doubt is the moment you have to ask yourself, am I doing in the right sense according to the elements and principles of design? Okay. Yes, Shireen, sorry.
Okay. So for proportion, I would say is diagonal, more diagonal, directed, because the mass of flowers is going in one diagonal direction. Do you agree, Anna?
I said it was horizontal because it was in between two lines, so that's why.
Okay, to mass. I see the line this way, the math. So this is very interesting. I love, to analyze that.
Okay. Do you hear me?
I do.
Okay. Well, in here, and I'm trying to put myself back on screen, but that's a little bit difficult because I don't know what. Oh, here I am. Okay, good. So in here, I'm gonna put the screen totally for me. Is that okay, girls? So in here, I'm gonna put it a little bit bigger like this, and we see it. So in here, we were talking about the proportion, right?
Yeah.
Right, ladies? Right?
Yes.
So, Anna, you're saying it's proportion what?
Directed horizontally, I said.
Horizontally. And Shireen is saying? So, Shireen, I put it on mute. I don't know what's happening here. So, once again, sorry. Shireen, you're on mute. Shireen put herself on mute, I think. Shireen, can you unmute you, or is it me? Did I do something wrong? Okay. You know what? Can you call in again, Shireen? Yeah, I will put you out and then call in. Okay. In the meantime, let's do it again. So in here, what happens is, okay, there is Shireen. So guys, now you can see everything is live. Oh, you're still muted. I don't know why it is. Shireen, I did something with you which is not correct. I don't know what happened. Can you hear me? So that is such a pity. Because I see Shireen is muted. Okay, let's go back to this one. Well, in here, let's see again. No, Shireen is muted. I don't know. Guest isn't. Oh, yes, I know what it is. Guest one, remove from green room. Okay, it's totally my fault. You were in the green room. It's the first time I see that. So it's a button.
Okay.
My mom said always don't touch too many buttons. So I did. So okay. So back to this. So you were proportion, Shireen. You were saying
Diagonally.
diagonally. Okay. Well, in here, that's a really good question. So you be always analyze the picture that you just put on the web or just give to us, right? So in this case, as a designer, what we do, we can make something proportion directed horizontally, and I totally agree with you, Anna. But if you want to give it a little bit more impact, and this is what you do, and that's the reason you put it a little bit out of center, right? You put it asymmetrical on the picture. What happens if we just analyze it, and why are you doing this? Because you want to create tension, and you create tension by a diagonally proportion, correct? Are you with me, Anna?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what, and I know you made it. You made it with a conscious mind from, okay, I'm gonna make it horizontal, right? Because all the flowers are flat, and they do get, but from the moment you place it in a diagonally way, you change the proportion, right? And that's why if you go, and it's a little trick what I'm gonna tell you, if you see artworks, and it's not only like flowers or something, if somebody makes a photograph of their work, it says how they would like that people see their work. You know what I mean? And you want us to see in it proportion directed. And what is the reason? Because you want to create more tension. Does it make sense?
Okay.
And that's why...
It's the way you display it.
Yes, the way you display it. And you put it, like I said already, I repeat myself, you display it in the way that we want to see it. Right? So it is, in this way, it is proportion directed diagonally. Okay. Growing points, that means, well, how many from growing points are there?
Multiple.
Yeah, there is multiple points. It's not one growing point because that means it comes from one point. No, it has like a phalaenopsis and it has these colors antidesia, so many. And then last, what about the harmony? We're just going to talk about the harmony in total. Tell me.
Active color harmony.
Sorry?
Active color harmony.
Yeah. Well, you can say, well, you know, everything is happening with the whites and the greens, but take in consideration there are a lot of things are happening. Texture, the fact that you went for the static lines with the curly lines. Remember we had that talk, right? So there's a lot of things happening. So there is a lot of activity. So we just call it active harmony. Okay. Well, I hope that makes sense to you, Anna.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna add you guys again because we love to see you. Okay. So in here we're gonna put that away. So thank you very much, Anna, for sharing your idea, for being part of the challenge. And my question is, would you do it again? Challenge
Of
yourself?
course.
Yeah?
Of course. Can't wait.
Well, next month we already know what it will be. It's a really cool challenge. And then, well, Sue is the CC manager, so she gonna post it and she gonna let us know what what you guys have to do. Okay. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you for being
Thank you very much
part
for
of this.
having me.
Okay.
It was very
Good.
nice seeing you.
Okay.
Bye.
By the way, what is your Instagram? How can people find you if they want to see more work of you? What's your Instagram account or your Facebook?
Floralistic. It's Floralistic Atelier.
Floristic Atelier. Okay. If somebody wants to see more work about Anna, go Floristic like Atelier on Instagram, on Facebook, and you will see more of your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
Anna.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Shireen, that was a good one, wasn't it? Okay. So, to just kind of complete this session, what is your opinion? Do you have something to add on the design?
Actually, what makes me the most happy is she say about she's consciously creating that bouquet. That's why she gets that outcome of, everybody feels that that's a beautiful design and all that, and she's following the EMPs or EMC to guide her in designing that
Yeah.
bouquet,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. And
Yeah,
she
and
can
I.
talk about it. She
Sorry?
can talk about it
Yeah.
because she has that information. So when we interview her, she can really talk about it with the information.
But I felt she was confident because
Yes.
you get confident if you know the theory, if you know what to say, and then you can communicate. But also, what I liked what she said was that I was focusing myself on the W's and
Yes.
for when and who, and you know what, she even told about the flowers. I could use certain flowers, but one flower was really good in durability, but I knew it was for the photo session, so I knew it was like surviving the time that the photographer was taking the picture. So that really makes sense. So in a certain way, she was starting her design from the outcome because she had it in mind, and then step by step she selected the flowers, selected how to do it, and so on. But it was all done in a great process. Yes.
Yes.
And I think as a designer, this is something that we have to look for, is knowing what you want to make, for who you want to make, and of course, if you know for the W's, then you can start with the how factor. How will I implement all those W's into the practice, right?
Yeah, and I have to say, even though we've spent some time thinking about the W's, do the homework first, meaning the W's and the EMPs and all that. But once we start designing, it really saves time because we already did all the homework and the outcome have in mind. So the designing process really cut down, and that is through my own experience when
Yeah.
I design. Yes.
Yeah, because what does take? Well, if we be realistic, what is taking time? Well, the insertions, right? But more the decisions how to insert. So if you
Yes.
make the insertions, well, not the insertions. If you make the decisions before you start to insert, and you say, no, I don't have to think. Should I put it in the left, or should I put it right, or should I put it on the and so on? No, we just know. You just insert. You don't have to
Yeah.
think anymore because you are kind of growing. You are going ahead, and you will finalize, and you will kind of, how do you say, you have your outcome in mind. So this is what you do. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, I think that's a nice way to conclude this Conscious Creative April challenge with Anna. Shireen, thank you very much for being present and
Thank
for
you.
your knowledge and for your wisdom. And well, I'm looking forward for the next challenge because it will be a cool one. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. You have a good day. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. See you. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.